Well. A lot of things are happening as far as funding for USAID based projects is concerned. What happened, we are going to discuss. Second thing we are going to give you is a quick update on what is happening in Germany's elections. We have told you that one part is elected members and the other one is direct proportional to the percentage of vote you poll. So we're going to talk about that also. So stay tuned. First, let's jump into what happened today with respect to USAID. I have a small slide deck to share with you. Please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel and click all on the bell notifications after that. So this is a small typo here. It is SCOTUS, SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, halts $2 billion foreign aid order. So what happened was, during the day, there was one US district judge. Let's go to the next slide, please, and I'll tell you all about it. So this is the last action. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, granted the Trump administration's request to halt a lower court order requiring $2 billion in foreign aid payments. Just so you all know, the USAID budget is $60 billion a year. It is more than the CIA, FBI, and every other national intelligence agency combined. The budget of all these things combined is still less than $60 billion. What exactly do they do? Well, we know that it started out with the best intentions, and it lost its way here, there, everywhere. Now, what has happened is, today there was a US district judge, Amir Ali. He was appointed by the Biden administration in 2024, who ruled that the payments must be made by 11:59 p.m. Wednesday EST, Eastern Standard Time. Right now it is, I would say it just went past. Now the problem was that the people who had to give the payment amount was $2 billion. It's not small change. They said that we can't just like that, comply with this order in just a few hours left in the day. So they moved the Supreme Court, and that's how the Chief Justice of Supreme Court has granted an injunction. An injunction is like stay, but it's not for long. Let's go to the next slide, please. So what's going to happen? I'm going to talk to you in a little bit. So what played out today? In front of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts, the acting Solicitor General, Sarah Harris, called Ali's order unrealistic, stating that it moved the goalpost without considering actual payment deadlines. She said that 36-hour deadline was impossible, as payment reviews require multiple steps, agencies, and documentary proof that actually the thing got done. The Trump administration first appealed to the DC Circuit Court of Appeals, but the court declined to pause the order. So this is how this is going. US District, then DC Circuit Court of Appeals, and then they went above that to Supreme Court. You can't directly go from the US District Court to the SCOTUS, because sometimes they'll say go back to the next court and then come here. This is standard in India also. So once the thing appeared in front of the Supreme Court of United States, Judge Roberts stepped in, granting a temporary stay and giving contractors until Friday noon to respond why they should be paid this amount that amounts to a total of $2 billion. Now, what they have to say is that they have to submit proof of what they did, and also they need to be able to go through the entire process and have the people who are still working at USAID to sign off on that. Only then they are going to get released. So the good news about this is this could be setting a precedent for the executive branch control over foreign aid funds. See, these are all funds that are supposed to have been dispersed by the Department of State. Remember that USAID is part of Department of State, and it reports to the Department of State. Straight off the bat, I can tell you, there were 10,000 projects that USAID was dispersing to people all over the world. And when it went in front of Marco Rubio, they cut off all but 3,200 or so. That's all that is remaining now. And these are supposed to be like absolute famine or flood relief in some third developing country, and so on and so forth. This is what was happening. So hopefully there's a final ruling on Friday, and that would determine how much leeway the Trump administration has as far as curtailing the aid for foreign entities. That's number one. Number two is there is a continuous check on how much the government can actually act. That is, the Trump administration can actually act with respect to federal employees. Already thousands have been furloughed, tens of thousands I should say, have been not furloughed, but they have been let go because many of them were in probation. See, this is the question that keeps coming back. Why do they have tens of thousands of employees suddenly in probation? Was it because, see, the total amount of people in the US government service is 2.2 million. So let's say DEI had to be implemented, monitored, written up, all that stuff in that probably required 10,000. That's what has been completely cut off now. So we'll see how this goes out. So this is the latest we have. The interesting thing is when they were asked to go home, they were given no more than 15 minutes of notice. Next slide, please. The USAID staff was given 15 minutes to gather their belongings before they were booted out. You know why? Well, it turns out that 𝗥𝗘𝗏 is finding that the FBI employees, or not all, but some of them, have actually deleted data even from the servers. So this raises the question: how many of the cases which had a black and white trail are now actually fightable in a court? Can data still be there? So something has happened. So these are all escalations. They wanted to make sure that you don't get enough time to wipe off evidence that could be incriminating to you. A lot of interesting things going on, and only 4 months is what Elon Musk has said. The first month is almost over. By the way, Elon Musk sat in a cabinet meeting and President asked in front of Elon Musk, all his cabinet members, are you happy with Elon? So don't go by what people are saying or the left is saying. They're really frothing because many of them are going to be caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and they are jumping up and down because they want to try and somehow put a halt. That's how I see this Amir Ali judgment also, ruling also, and we'll wait and see what happens on Friday. But now that person, that lower district judge, cannot do anything. It is the Supreme Court of the United States that is going to decide. So that is as far as the SCOTUS USAID is concerned. Now let's take a look at what is happening in Germany. Now if you look at Germany, actually I can do one more thing. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I hope you can see this thing better now. I won't be visible, but you can hear me, I hope. So just pause. Go back up, please. Yeah, stop there. That's good. So notice one thing, you viewers. These results are preliminary, but it's not going to change a whole lot, I don't think, because I did a back of the envelope calculation. It seems correct. Maybe 5 seats here or there. Now, what has happened is there are a total of 630 seats to the Bundestag. Bundestag is the equivalent of parliament, and this is basically members of the Lok Sabha. The only difference here is that 299 constituencies are the ones for which elections were held. So the remaining 331 seats are allocated based on the voter percentage each party gets. So now let us scroll down a little bit, just a little bit, please. Yeah, stop. Yeah. So here, what you are seeing is the top 3 finishers. The CDU/CSU, that is the equivalent of BJP in India or the Republican Party in the United States, non-left. Okay. AFD is the new party, and this one is Alliance for Deutschland. Deutschland is how Germany or Germans call themselves. Deutsch is what they call themselves, and their land is Deutschland, just like India would probably want to refer to itself as Bharat. So AFD has made a stunning progress. They've come from nowhere to 152 seats, but not enough to become the majority. So if you think about it, the first two, the top two finishers, between them, if they form a coalition, that would be 360 seats, quite a comfortable working majority in a 630 seat Bundestag. But looks like it is going to be CDU-CSU is going to be forming the government with SPD, the former outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who has 120 seats. Now you add those two, that comes to what? 328. And the total is 630. So just barely above the halfway mark. Why this is happening, only they can explain. However, the history says that so far of the last 4 governments formed, 3 of them were formed with CDU and SPD in coalition. By the way, SPD calls themselves left. So SPD is the equivalent of Congress, and it is also the equivalent of the Democratic Party, Democrats in United States. So how is it that the left and the non-left, the top two, are going to form the government? Then basically it is where it was before. This is unfortunate because AFD hoped to get a little bit more votes percentage poll, so that if, for example, if they had the same number of votes as the CDU, like 14 million, they got 10 million, they got 4 million short. But if they had got 2 or 3 more million, that would have risen their count to be higher. But it was still nowhere near where they would have to be to get to the to be having an absolute majority on their own. But AFD certainly is on a rise. The interesting thing there is AFD has swept the East Germany part, completely swept, except for some portions of some pockets of Berlin. Berlin is part of what used to be East Germany. And unfortunately, they haven't done that well outside of this area where they probably not polled well. I am seeing the same thing like what I would say BJP was in the 90s, late 90s, when they started showing very good promise. Now let's take a look at the other parties. You have the 2 very, very extreme left parties. And yeah, go down please a little bit. Yeah, stop. Yeah, that's fine. So the Grün, if I remember correctly, that is the Green Party. These are like liberals, if you will. Then you have Die Linke, that is left party. And the next one is BSW, that is also left. These two used to be together, but then they parted ways. And the 2 ladies, one is Heidi Reicheneck and the other one is Sarah Wagenknecht. Now, BSW has polled 2.5 million votes, 4%, but they are not getting any seats. This proportional representation, somewhere I think it goes wrong, or maybe it just gives it to a certain number and then stops after that, or they didn't hit a threshold. I don't remember exactly what the threshold was, because if you see the last 2 finishers, both of them have polled over 2 million votes, but they are not getting any seats in the proportional representation. I think there is a lower limit also required. So the extreme left are Die Linke and BSW. And both of them are also solidly against illegal immigration. And so is the AFD. So you have this interesting situation. You have this interesting situation where the 2 extremes are for the same purpose, that they don't want illegal immigrants. But the middle, they are still kind of waffling about it. We have to wait and see what happens. Certainly Scholz is not going to be the chancellor. It's going to be Nies, who is the CDU head of the party. But who they align with is the question. I think they are going to go with the SDP, although I would like them to go with AFD. That would give Germany a clear direction, plus that would also give Europe a clear direction that this is how Germany is going to proceed. However, looking at the way things are going in Europe, where the deep state or Soros, whoever you want to say, is having a larger than life influence on some of these elections. I'm very sorry to say this. France also messed up big time. Here, Germany also, you're seeing it. But these things, whatever it is, they won't last long. there will be elections again. I don't know if the country can afford to keep going for elections. This is my read on it. Okay, so this is all I have to say. Let's take some questions now. Satyanarayanan, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Elmo wants to know, why are these lefties exposing themselves? Sabne kaha hai, kahaya hai, sabne kaha hai. Stay quiet and run before you are caught. Well, Elmo, these are all solid, leftist bastions, whether it is France or Germany. They all believe in all these things. The interesting thing I find, again, see, East Germany used to be a communist nation not long ago, 30 years ago. And yet, sabne khaya hai. Sabne khaya hai. That is true. That's true. See, East Germany used to be a solid communist bloc, communist country, because it was part of the USSR. And yet, they have voted for the most extreme non-left party, AfD. So, it's just really, really interesting the way the politics are evolving in Germany. So, we'll see how that goes. Next one, please. Rudran wants to know, Shriji, Jai Shri Ram, 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗙𝗀𝗏, will India take serious action against parties who received USAID to topple Modi? I'm not too hopeful, Rudran. They will probably use this to, arm twist them into doing something else. They probably won't act. I don't know what the philosophy of the BJP government is. In my opinion, they should have cleaned up the media by sending Pranay Roy to jail, because the template used by NDTV was cut, paste across 1,000 channels that exist now as television channels in India. So you take each language, right? Each language has about 100 channels. Add them up. There are a lot of channels now. They could have just sent them all home, but nothing happened, and Adani got NDTV, and then that's it. Okay, next question, please. Oh, Muhammad ka asli baap. What is the origin of Ali's parents? He is Canadian born, looks like 𝗏𝗍𝗍. I didn't have a chance to look at it. I know he is Canadian born, but he could have migrated when they were children. It's okay. I mean, you get your path to citizenship and you do the right words and you're qualified. There are a lot of Indian origin judges also. Amit Mehta is one. I know at least 2 or 3. The names are not coming to me, but there are some judges of Indian origin also. Aprameya wants to know, Sriji, will Turkey be thrown out of NATO by President Trump? I think President Trump, given the choice, he might want to just exit NATO and say, you guys deal with it. I'm done with you. I don't know. It's a very good question. I have no idea what's going to happen. Manav-san wants to know, if USAID employees are erasing records, isn't this against the law? Public records belong to the public. Could any of these documents have information on foreign interference in Indian politics? Oh yes. Oh yes. USAID was using some very secure leased lines to do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's possible. Next one. Mahmood ka asli baap. Approximately 154 million taxpayers are there in US. If Trump has to pay 5,000 per person, that would be 770 billion. Also, what happens if the people get divorced during this period? Good question. You're asking all these tough questions today, Mahmood ka asli baap. Well, they'll figure it out. I don't know what exactly happened. See, if you're going to go by the previous year, last year, whatever you did, if supposing somebody is filed jointly and then they are separated, I guess the pie will get split as 2. Next one. Maithili wants to know, Sriji, what is the agenda of Ursula to meet Modi with some 27 EU members? Watch 8 p.m. tonight. Rajiv Narayanan ji and I are talking about Yalta 2. What is Yalta? Yalta 1.1 took place between 7th February to 14th February 1945. The war was almost at the end, and 3 big leaders, that is Franklin Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin, they all met together in a Crimean city, in a palace, Lidakiyev or something like that, and they thrashed out the agreement of who's going to have which country. And all this stuff is going to be discussed in great detail by Rajiv Narayanan, because the topic of tonight is Yalta 2.0, which means the new geographical division is coming and who is going to be going which way. Fascinating talk. Every month he comes up with one of these things that great insights. Do watch that one at 8 p.m. tonight. Next one, please. Tread, where is Elmer Yuan these days? I have been very, very busy lately. As you can see, I'm doing 3 or 4 videos these days. I used to just do 1 or 2 before, and this has required me to really, really buckle down and work. So I really have time to, keep up. But I'll find out if he's in town or if I can get hold of him. I'll try and bring him online. I know he's on Twitter a lot, on X a lot, but that's all in Cantonese. Those are live broadcasts and they are in Cantonese. R.V. Hari Krishna wants to know, US is in debt neck deep. Do you see any way Trump can get the country out of this mess? My dear man, watch my Gold Series episode 1. I talked about that. In fact, there is one more that should be coming in the next few days. I update on that one, on what happened in part 1 and part 2. Part 3 has part 1 and part 2 updated and also something new. So do watch my Gold Series. It's got a lot of information and it directly addresses your question. Next one, please. Rasheshwarnath Rana wants to know, sir, what happened to the Bangladesh Blitz journal? Any chat with him expected soon? Bangladeshi is rife with regime change rumors. Yes, did you see that address by the chief of the army? Again, the inner workings of Bangladesh army is also discussed in that 8 p.m. broadcast today. It covers a lot of things, I can tell you. It's about 57 minutes or so. Absolutely fantastic. Do watch that one. Manoksan wants to know, does Trump have any power to clean out corrupt judges, since Biden, Obama, Democrats seem to have inserted their own hand-picked people into the judicial system? Can he act? Can he act? Are they unremovable? They can be removed by impeachment. I think I talked about this on a separate episode. There are 3 ways you can do it. It goes by state to state. Some states, the judges are appointed. Then 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗫 𝗪. Some states, the judges are appointed. In some states, the judges are also elected. I mean, you vote for the judge you want to be judging you. So it's very interesting in US. Each state has a slightly different way the rules are framed. So you have to look at that. If investigative agencies can prove corruption of a judge, then I think the judge can be removed. There's a book by John Grisham about this exact thing, how they remove a judge. Very, very fascinating stuff. Next one, please. I think that's all we have. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And like I said, please click on the bell notifications and choose all. Thank you so much. Namaskar.